Good afternoon, guys. If you don't know me, my name is Andrea. I make mom and baby videos, everything about my life with a toddler, a 16-month toddler. And today I want to talk to you about the biggest baby topic, which is sleep. Sleep is a very big topic, and it can never be talked about enough. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not here to give you advice that you should follow. I'm here to share with you our experience, what happened with our daughter, and how we transitioned her from co-sleeping into an independent sleeper. So the first thing that happened was we put a crib up in our room because she used to sleep in our room. So she was used to that environment. She was used to being in our room. And so having her crib there made her aware of the fact that she knew the environment that she was going to sleep in. So that was very helpful for us. So I put her crib in our room, and then I started by just leaving it. I just left it there for a little bit. I put her in there to play during the day and just adjust to just having a crib in the room, because that was a change, to the environment. And I knew that for her it was weird having this thing in the room. And every time I put her in there, at first she was very confused and crying, quite quickly. And yeah, it took her probably a couple of days to adjust to the fact that there was a crib in the room. And then what I did was I needed to stick to a routine. A routine, it's the biggest thing in this whole approach. I think me just sticking to the routine helped a lot. And by routine, what I started doing is I started putting a sleep bag on her before, when she was going to bed, because in our bed we were co-sleeping, so I usually just put pajamas on her, and she was just going to sleep next to me. So she never needed a sleep bag. So I introduced a sleep bag, and she took to it very well, actually. At first she was a bit confused, but she took it very well. So I introduced a sleep bag, and I introduced a sound machine. I couldn't have done this whole thing without a sound machine, I don't think, because the sound machine completely cancels out every other noise in our house. And in our house you can hear everything. So I think having a sound machine for her, it was a big change. And she didn't really notice it at first. I started the sound machine when she was already asleep at first, and then slowly I started the sound machine just as I was putting her to bed, so she would listen to it and understand what was going on. Did something, there was a noise in the room, so she adapted to that very well, very quickly. So me introducing the sleep bag and the sound machine wasn't a big deal for her at all. She actually very much liked it, I think. And then, so what I did, I introduced a sleep bag and a sound machine to her routine, and then I started doing naps. I started doing naps in her crib in our room. So slowly, still rocking her to sleep. This is naps, yeah? So I was rocking her, walking up and down the room. And then as soon as she was asleep, and I wasn't doing a drowsy awake, because I tried it, and every time I put her down drowsy, she would up screaming again, and I didn't like that at all. It was stressing me out, and it was stressing her out. So we just rocked her to sleep. When she was gone, I would just put her in the crib. And then the sound machine was on, she had a sleep bag on. She would nap in there, not very long. At first, she was waking up after a half hour, screaming because she didn't understand what was going on. So I picked her up straight away. Sometimes I tried rocking her back to sleep because she was clearly still tired, and putting her back in the crib, but it didn't work out. Sometimes she would just not wanting at all. But then if I would rock her to sleep and put her next to me in bed, she would go actually back to sleep. And I didn't mind doing that, guys, because I was just trying to get her used to the crib. I didn't want to force her, and I didn't want to traumatize her by forcing her to be in there if she didn't want to. So I was like, you know what, if you don't want to sleep in there, you've already had half hour in there, it's fine, you can sleep in bed with me now. And then we did that, and I did that for couple of weeks, probably like 1 or 2 weeks. I don't remember the exact timing that it took for her to actually have naps in her crib. So after a couple of weeks, I think, she actually started sleeping a whole nap, so an hour and a half it was at the time. And at the time she was on 2 naps a day. Now she's down to 1 nap a day. So at the time it was morning and afternoon in the crib. At night she was still co-sleeping with us. I didn't put her in there at night. And then slowly, as soon as she adapted to having her full nap in the morning, full nap in the afternoon in the crib, and she wasn't waking up traumatized by the fact she was in the crib, and she adapted to the fact that I was putting, like, when she was asleep, I could see the difference by, if I put her down and she wasn't completely gone, she would still open her eyes and then like go back to sleep. So she knew she was in the crib and she was accepting that, and that was a big win for us. And after doing that, I introduced nights. So after she started sleeping very well during first nap, second nap, I then introduced bedtime in the crib in our room, and I put her in there in our crib. In her crib in our room at night. So again, rocking her until she was completely gone, and then putting her in there. And she lasted for a couple of hours, which was very good. For us, it was very good because when we were co-sleeping, she would literally wake up every hour. Like, it was insane. So in the crib, she already, with the sound machine and the sleep bag on, she was already sleeping 2 to 3 hours independently. This time went up and up and up. And again, when she was waking up after 2 or 3 hours, I was picking her up, breastfeeding her in bed next to me, co-sleeping. So that was that. So there was no like forcing her to go back to sleep in the crib, because she didn't want to be in the crib after that. Like, we maybe tried it, and then we saw that she didn't want it, so we just adapted to the fact she didn't want to be in there, left her to sleep in our bed for the night. And then slowly, as the time went on, she started sleeping more and more and more in her crib by herself, up to the point that she was sleeping 6 or 7 hours, which was, for us, was insane, by herself in her crib in our room. At that point, we just thought, you know what, we think that us making noise, getting into the bed, like snoring or whatever, is probably like, you know, disturbing her after 6 or 7 hours. So we just thought it's time to introduce her room, and we did the same thing again. We moved the crib into her room, left the crib in her room for a couple of days. She saw the crib was in her room. She had naps in her crib in her room, and after, like, I think it was 1 day that we only did naps in her crib in her room, and then the second day we already like did both naps in her room and also put her in there for bedtime, and she was perfect. Like, we literally put her in there at night in her room, and she was just like, yes, I'm fine with this, I know where I am, I'm in my crib, I know that it's my room because I slept in here yesterday. She was perfect. When we put her to bed in her room, I didn't think that she was adapting, like she was gonna adapt that quickly. I thought that she was gonna wake up and scream and like be very scared. She was so good. We were so impressed and lucky and happy with what was going on. So yes, she was waking up. Then after 6 or 7 hours, we were picking her up and again bringing her into our bed, because we didn't want to like force her if she didn't want to be in there. Then like the time that she was sleeping increased to like 8 or 9 hours, sometimes even like 10. So she was almost doing a full night. So she was still waking up at like 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning. But that was like such a big change, consider that we went, like, I was waking up every hour to breastfeed her, and now she was waking up at 4, 5 in the morning to come in my bed. And that was such a big change, because I had most of the nights by myself in bed, and then she would just join me like around 4, 5, 6 in the morning sometimes, and we were fine with that. We did that for weeks. We were just putting her to sleep in there, and then when she was waking up at night, like in the morning almost, we were just taking her into my bed and breastfeeding her then. She did have a couple of nights where it was actually like a whole night, so she was waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, which was great, by the way. But like she didn't actually start doing it every single day until I stopped breastfeeding. And I just posted, my last video is about my journey stopping breastfeeding and how I did all of that. So if you want to watch that, it's gonna be my previous video. I might actually link it up here so you guys can find it. But when I stopped breastfeeding, it's actually when she started going from 7 until 7 or 7 until 6 in the morning. And she just, you know, she was just happy to do it. And then we were still like not sorry, so we went from rocking her to just patting her back. So we started putting her to bed in her crib. She would turn around on her back, like on her belly down, and then we would like rub her back until she was asleep. So that was already different because we used to rock her to sleep, and then when we put her in her room, what we started doing is we stopped rocking her. We would put her down in her crib and then rub her back until she was asleep. And then we did that for like months, I think. And then yeah, we were rubbing her back until she was completely asleep. And then I stopped breastfeeding, and when I stopped breastfeeding, we went from rubbing her back to not even doing that anymore. And then it started being just putting her in her crib and just putting our hand on her tummy or on her back so she knew we were there. And then from that, as soon as she was okay with that, we went to from just holding our hand to not even doing that, just putting her down and sitting next to her crib. Don't get me wrong, so many times she started getting up and like trying to play with us because we were still in her room. And you know, it wasn't easy. We had some bad times where we had to like go up back like a step backwards and then start again. But that was kind of the transition that we did, sitting in her room waiting for her to fall asleep. And then from that it went to us putting her down, wave a good night, bye, and like leaving her with her teddy and the sound machine and the sleep bag. And then we would just walk away and close the door, and she'd go to bed by herself. And there was no letting her cry. There was no, I don't think there was any traumatic experience for her in all of this, because I think we did everything very slowly. So I think we went from co-sleeping to sleeping independently in 3 to 4 months. So I don't judge people that do sleep train, because I don't, honestly, I know this sleep can be such a tough topic. I know people can go insane because I know moms, they literally get no sleep, and I don't, like, honestly, I don't know how they do it. So I don't judge anyone for sleep training, not sleep training, co-sleeping until the kids are 4. Like, this is what we thought we would do with our baby. This is what we thought was right for our baby, and it worked. This is me trying to help you guys. I am trying to share my story and the steps that we took and what we did. So hopefully I can make it easier for you if you're a breastfeeding mom or a co-sleeping mom that is just very tired and that has a toddler that wakes up constantly during the night and wants to do this transition to them sleeping by themselves in their own room. So I hope this video helped you. If it did, remember to leave a like to my video and leave a comment to share your experience with me. If you have anything to say, you know, any advice for me or any advice for other people, or if you want to share your own experience, or if you just want to let me know that, you know, if this was helpful or not. I love to see your comments, and I love to reply to your comments. So leave a comment, leave a like if you liked the video. I hope it was helpful, and if you liked it, then also remember to subscribe to my channel, because that would help me so much, and I would love to have you as part of the community. So thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.